everyone. You're listening to The Future of Food Is You, a production of the Cherry Bomb Podcast Network. I'm your host, Abena Anim-Somuah, and each week I talk to emerging talents in the food world, and they share what they're up to, as well as their dreams and predictions for what's ahead. I love this new generation of chefs, bakers, and creatives making their way in the worlds of food, drink, media, and tech. Today's guest is Hailee Catalano. If you're at all plugged into the cooking side of Instagram, you've most likely seen Hailee's calm, straightforward videos of delicious home-cooked recipes. When her plan to break into the New York restaurant scene was upended by COVID, Hailee got creative. She started out making cooking videos as a fun hobby, and today she's garnered over 400,000 followers on Instagram and counting. Hailee and I sat down together to talk about her Chicago upbringing, her time working in restaurants, and what the future holds for culinary content creators. Stay tuned for our chat. Thank you to Kerry for supporting The Future of Food Is You. Kerry is the iconic Irish brand famous for its beautiful cheese made with milk from Irish grass-fed cows. Spring is here in New York and lots of other places, as you know, and I love to brighten up my spring produce with my favorite Kerry cheese. Kerry Cashel Blue Farmhouse cheese has become a staple in my salads. The creamy, delicious texture has that distinct blue cheese bite and is a star of my kale and walnut salads. Kerry also has some great recipes on their site, and one I have in frequent rotation is roasted broccoli soup with Kerry Dubliner with Irish stout cheese. The sweet and nutty flavor and caramel notes take it to the next level. I've also been loving a classic grilled cheese. Upgrade yours with Kerry Reserve Cheddar, which is sharp, strong, rich, and smooth. For us snackers out there, a personal cheese plate always hits the spot. Kerry Skellig, a rich and tangy sweet cheese, pairs perfectly with tart apple slices, your favorite crackers, or a pickle or two. Look for Kerry cheese at your favorite supermarket, specialty grocery store, or cheese shop. Visit kerrygoldusa.com for recipes, product information, and a store locator. The Cherry Bomb Jubilee Conference is taking place Saturday, April 20th in New York City. It's the largest gathering of women in and around the food, drink, and hospitality space, and an amazing day of conversation and connection. Meet great people, discover the folks behind your favorite brands, and gain wisdom from Jubilee speakers. Tickets are on sale now at cherrybomb.com. If you're an official Cherry Bomb member, be sure to check out the special pricing for members. I'll be at this year's Jubilee, and I would love to see you there. Now, let's check in with today's guest. Hailee, welcome to The Future Food Is You.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I know, it's like another fun way for us to catch up. Can you tell us where you grew up and how did food show up in your life?
Yeah, so I grew up in Elmhurst, Illinois, which is a suburb of Chicago. My dad is Sicilian, so I'm half Sicilian. And a lot of the food stuff was based around like his side of the family, Sunday dinners at my grandma's house. Everybody would come over, go to church and then go eat pasta after. Food was always just like part of my life and something I would always look forward to from a young age. Just like seeing my grandma cook for everybody, I always remember feeling like, wow, that's such a power that this woman has, like to bring so many people together. Everyone's happy and eating, and it's just like the happiest day of the week. My mom learned how to cook from my grandma. She had her own garden, so I grew up with her making stuff from her garden. And yeah, I just was always around food, and I always loved it.
So you mentioned that you've always wanted to attend culinary school since you were a kid. I feel like most people who come on the show, have always loved food and kind of stumble into it. What was the moment that really clicked for you?
I guess it's a little bit of a cliche answer. Everyone's like, oh, I watched Food Network.
Of course.
But we all did,
Yeah.
And I remember I was probably, I was very young, and I was watching Rachael Ray, 30-minute meals, and I was like, this is so fun. And she made a salmon dish, and it was salmon with like orange marmalade glaze or something.
Very her.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, I got to make that. Like, I'm going to tell my mom, let's buy the stuff to make that. And so I told my mom, she's like very supportive. She's like, yeah, let's make it. We had to get a grill pan and all this stuff. And she was like really supportive of that, which I always am so grateful for, like very supportive of my hobbies at the time, just a hobby.
Yeah.
She really like let me make it. And I was really young, probably 8 or something. And it had like this iceberg salad on the side. I don't know. I still think about that. That's the moment I realized, oh, citrus and salmon is good together. Anyway.
And that started cooking other flavor combos in your brain.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was so young. And I just remember like serving it to my parents, whatever. Like we all ate it.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, this is so good. And like bonded over just eating a piece of salmon. And I just remember feeling like, I want to do this my whole life.
Wow.
Type of thing.
That's so beautiful. It's like your Remy moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
You end up going to culinary school.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always fascinated by what classes people take when they're in culinary school.
Yeah, so the one that I went to, I'm not sure if this is all culinary schools, how it goes, but the one that I went to, it's like you either choose baking or you choose culinary.
Yeah, and you went to the Culinary Institute of America.
Yep.
Many incredible alums. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And so I did the culinary because I always was more interested in that. I mean, I like baking and stuff, but on the limited scale, I would say. So yeah, I chose the culinary. And then when you choose the culinary, you go through all the same exact classes. Like everyone does the same exact ones. And you have the same exact class of people for the whole time.
Your cohort.
Yeah, which was really fun. But yeah, like the first one is like, we called it Fundies, like Fundamentals of Culinary.
So cute.
And yeah, that one was the longest class when you learned like cutting stuff and hollandaise and stuff like that. Or like, Egg Week. That was a scary week. Everyone's so scared for Egg Week. It was
what made Egg Week terrifying?
You know, things like making French omelets and like, no, browning the eggs. Very French egg techniques, which are very good to learn. But honestly, I don't mind a brown egg here and there. Obviously, I actually love it.
Crispy.
Yeah. You had to bring up your egg and it had to be the right for over medium, over easy. Like, oh, not quite. Do it again. It's kind of like a TV show.
Yeah.
They made it like that, Egg Week. But yeah, that was fundamentals. And then, this is like meats class where you learn to like butcher stuff. Fish. That was also a scary one. Fish.
Deboning one, I'm sure. Yeah.
There were all the different debonings and stuff.
Wow, imagine if you're just sitting in the quad with your friends. You're like, gotta go, like, got fish class
that was
or something.
Literally it. And it looked like Hogwarts. If you ever look up, like, the CIA. Like,
culinary Hogwarts. Everyone's got toques and stuff. Yeah,
it was crazy. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
And we would all be eating what everyone makes. Whatever's in the hall is like, I'm eating chicken fiend herb for lunch before I go to fish class.
Yeah, you had a different culinary experience than most of us. No ramen noodles in your existence.
Well, it was much.
And obviously it was expected, you're going to culinary school. You're going to start working in restaurants.
Right.
What was the transition period like from culinary school to working professionally?
Yeah. In the middle of the culinary school, you go on an externship and you work in a restaurant for like, I think it's 6 to 8 weeks, depending on how long
it's
you
like
do
the
it.
Summer.
Yeah. Exactly. So that was a really good, like if you had never worked in a restaurant, because a lot of people had worked in a restaurant before going to culinary school.
Yeah.
So that was a really good, like, this is what it's going to be like in real life. But then also at the end of culinary school, you have a whole block of restaurants that are in the school that you work in. So then once you go into working in restaurants and stuff, there's obviously a lot of similar things. And there's a lot of things that are like maybe exaggerated in culinary school, which I get that they would do that. So you are a little bit more prepared. And then maybe things that are like harder than in culinary school. Because it's like, okay, today I failed, but at my job today I like got fired. It's like someone's in a restaurant, it's like, we need you to hard boil eggs. If you can't do that,
you're gonna get fired.
Fired or like really ridiculed. Not everywhere, you could be. But some things were, I would say, harder in culinary school, like all call outs. You'd have to memorize all the orders that you have in a lot of restaurants.
Looking at a ticket.
Yeah. And a lot of restaurants have tickets now, but both easier and harder in both ways. Yeah.
How would you describe your cooking style and who are you inspired by?
There's a lot of Midwestern core, I believe, in my cooking, like the comfort core, cheese and butter and all that. But then a lot of seasonal ingredients and incorporated with those comfort meals. So I think it's like fresh comfort foods, also with hints of Italian here and there.
Yeah.
And that's just really basically what I grew up eating between my mom and then my dad. Fresh comfort foods. It's a big thing. A lot of herbs and lemon.
Yes, you are. I love how you use herbs in your food. A lot of dill, cilantro.
Yes, I love dill. What is your opinion on dill?
I love dill.
Okay,
I'm team dill all the way.
I get a lot of people saying dill kills everything, but I'm like, no.
It's like tarragon's a little overpowering, but then dill gives you that same like little bite that you're looking for.
It's so good. Yeah. You know what? I actually used to also think I didn't like dill because my mom used to love her to death. She would use dried dill and it was kind of yucky.
Fresh all the way.
Yeah.
Fresh all the way. Yeah. So after leaving restaurants, you're deciding what you want to work on, and you start working for a small kitchen appliance company. Were there any lessons you took from that job that you think really helped you into creating content?
Yes. Oh, definitely. I was a shopper just for the test kitchen at first, a grocery shopper. Because actually in that, COVID time, I was an Instacart shopper. That's what me and Chuck used to do. Yeah, it was we had a whole system. Not that you need to hear about it, but I was proud of that system. And
it was you're an essential worker too. Yeah.
And so then I found this job. I was like, I could do grocery shopping. Because it's like I really just needed a job, It was for a test kitchen. And then when they realized like, she cooks, then I was able to do recipe testing and recipe development for it. And it really definitely made me look at a recipe from a totally different lens of somebody making it who doesn't cook So that was very helpful because I got to work with a lot of recipe editors and writers that are like, no, like you got to say, someone might not know how to core that, or you know to slice that this way, but like other people are not going to read it that way. So that was really helpful. Just even knowing how to standard write a recipe, like, because I'd never really do that.
Yeah, you got to make sure the ingredients are in the order, the directions.
Right, and or like, you know, the biggest amount to the smallest amount.
Yes.
In restaurants, when we write a recipe, it's just like 30 grams of ingredients.
You're cooking at scale.
Yeah.
It's different.
So it's totally, there's no method.
Yeah.
So that really helped me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you transition out of that job and you start, well, I think at the time you're making content, you're just making coffee videos. That's the name Cafe Hailee.
Right.
What was the motivation to start making those videos?
I was just scrolling on TikTok, as many people do. And I was like, all these videos, even the cooking ones, drink ones, I'm like, these are just so fun to watch, satisfying. And so I was like, I'm going to try to do that just because I had so much more extra time than I was used to. And I needed a creative outlet because the small appliance place, it was not like a working.
You're working for someone else. It's different. Yeah.
And there was no creativity at all, which I was really missing. So I was like, maybe this could be a good outlet. I'm just going to do it. And it was very silly in the beginning for sure. I mean, what is silly? I don't know. I don't remember the first coffee that I made, but I'm sure it was an iced coffee of something. I don't know.
Yeah.
There were times where I would make 4 TikTok posts a day for a long time. Like I would be posting because it was just coffee, so I could make like a drink. And then, as you can see, I talk fast already.
Buzzing.
Yeah. I would just post so much, just coffee.
And were you getting instant likes, or did you feel like it took time before like people started to really get to see your work?
Yeah. There was probably a good 3 months, I would say, where I was posting like multiple times a day, every single day. And I would get like 100 views or something. But I was just having fun.
That's what you get
with
in a second now.
Yeah. Yeah, but I was just having fun with it. It was fun.
That.
It was fun at the time.
Yeah.
Just doing that really helped me. That 3 months is just like learning how to, in my opinion, like when I look back on it now. It was
your sandbox.
Yeah, exactly.
To try things out. That's really cool. You were having a couple of viral moments. Like people are starting to follow your recipes. You're tagging more. When did it start to click that this could be a career? Or this could be something substantial for you? Yeah.
With the coffee stuff, I was able to grow my account. And I would get one-off things here and there. But it was never something to me that was like, this was going to be my career, like content stuff. I mean, this is going off on a tangent, but I originally even started it also because I was like, I want to manifest having a cafe of my own one day, so I'm going to like do one online.
Yeah, well, huge manifestors on the pod, so.
Okay, great.
There we go, first one of the day.
Yes, yeah. With the coffee stuff, I was like, if maybe this will lead me to having the cafe. That was the dream, the goal, which is still the dream, the goal. But then I started doing food, and that's when really things took off more so, because obviously that's what I love to do.
Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back. Thank you to the Hampton Grocer Granola for supporting the future of food as you. The Hampton Grocer is an award-winning, small-batch, female-owned granola company. Founded in Montauk as a farm-to-door grocery delivery business, the Hampton Grocer became a beloved granola found at local farmers markets. Why do folks love it so much? The Hampton Grocer's granola is made with high-quality organic ingredients that are gluten-free and dairy-free. Yes, even their chocolate. The honey and organic maple syrup that give the granola its natural sweetness are sourced from small farms across New York State. And each bag is loaded with a nutritious blend of whole nuts, super seeds, and packs a serious crunch. Try a bowl of the Hampton Grocer cinnamon and dry cherry granola at breakfast with yogurt, or snack on the almond butter and chocolate chunk for a pick-me-up. If you're feeling creative, sprinkle a handful of the limited edition Hampton Grocer black truffle and hot honey flavor onto your springtime salad. If you'd like to make the Hampton Grocer granola part of your morning routine or afternoon snack time, use code FUTUREOFFOOD for 20% off your first order. Visit thehamptongrocer.com for product information, a store locator, and to request it at your local shop. Thank you to Donna for also supporting the future of food as you. Donna is a female-founded and independently owned tea company based in Brooklyn, New York. Growing up in a tea-loving family where a freshly brewed cup was my mom's way of saying I love you, I'm inspired by the intentionality and research that goes into each cup of Donna. The company debuted with their masala chai concentrate. Mix it with equal parts milk and enjoyed iced or steamed into a delicious chai latte. Plus, Donna's products are created to thrive in and out of the cup. Use their chai concentrate in waffles, add their turmeric concentrate to a mango lassi, or blend their loose leaves into a shortbread cookie batter. If you're looking for a comforting beverage after a long day, reach for Donna's loose-leaf teas and sachets. For a morning boost without the coffee jitters, try Donna's Kyoto Matcha. This stone-milled matcha is hand-plucked from a small family-owned plot in Kyoto. Donna is also committed to a sustainable future. Each week, the team sends hundreds of gallons of food scraps to a farm in upstate New York. For more information and recipes, visit drinkdonna.com or check them out on Instagram at drinkdonna. Let's talk about recipe development because I love your recipes. I mean, there's almost like an ease, but also a bit of a challenge in your recipes, which I think is so beautiful.
I appreciate that so much.
Of course, yeah.
I really do.
When you're thinking about developing recipes, how do you go from an idea to the recipe and then sharing that content online?
Just throughout my days, I get ideas of things I want to do, and then I just put it in my iPhone notes, which is a crazy place, as most people's are. Yeah. I'll go back to it and look at it like, I don't want to do that. Like, it's boring now. But if I still love it, then I'll make it at home, see how it is. And then, if I really, really love it, then I'll make a video on it. But sometimes I'll even make a video, and then even though I've tried it, I'm like, oh, wait, I actually hate this now. That happened recently.
Back to the drawing board. Yeah.
Not even just because the video, just because I'm like, oh, I actually don't think this is that good. Or it's like it's really unreasonable for someone to make this.
Yeah.
Which is something I try to think about, but then I also don't want it to stunt what I love to make.
Exactly.
Which is why it makes me happy that you said it seems easy, but there's like a little bit level of being aware of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Which I think is also important in recipe writing because, yes, you want to hold people's hand and you want it to come out well. But also I would love it for people to also learn how to cook as well while doing it.
Yeah.
I used to think, okay, it has to come out exactly perfect for this person, which I do want that to happen. But there's also like a sense of I want people to learn to cook too. But of course, I want the recipe to come out good. I write it obviously for it to come out well.
You don't want your recipes to be intimidating, but you want people to feel challenged in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're not like mindlessly cooking because I think cooking is so much about how you feel and
it's intuitive
and thinking about it. Yeah, like I don't want to take out too much of the intuitiveness of cooking, but also while still making a recipe that's going to be successful, if that makes sense.
Wow. No, I mean, I think that's the good and bad thing of Instagram is that you get so much content.
Yeah.
And none of us are seeing, the mental gymnastics you're doing, being like, okay, what's in season? What will people have in their kitchen? What do I have too much of? What do I have too little of? It's really awesome to hear that there's a lot of thought process and intentionality going into what you're cooking. But I have to ask, you are making a lot of content. Do you eat everything that you make?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
See, I know it will come off like I am making a lot of content.
Yeah.
It looks like I'm making a lot, which I am making a lot of things. But this girl's got to eat, so I just eat it. Also, something like a huge soup. We're not going to eat the whole soup. I'll freeze quarts of it. I'll have it for lunch next month or whenever I feel like I want it again. Stuff like that, or give it away.
Your team leftovers.
Oh, yes.
And then some.
For sure, team leftovers. I love leftovers.
Yeah.
That's all I really eat.
I loved how you talked about, those 3 months being sort of like a playground sandbox moment for you. But I love your videos. I think they're just so approachable and, they're incredibly lit. I'm always like,
really?
How is she able to get a shot of the video and like her with the pepper grinder and like it's so easy and comforting. Like even if I'm not cooking, I'm like, I can just watch these and fall
That's
asleep,
so kind.
Of
course.
I
really appreciate that. To me, like that's the part that I struggle with a lot. I can do the cooking and stuff, but the filming, I'm like, I think I'm like so bad at it, honestly.
Not in the least.
But because I don't know what I'm doing. Like, because you'll see a lot of cooking that are very
elaborate.
Yeah, the video part. Me and Chuck have even tried to get one of those lights. At one point, we got like a much nicer camera other than the iPhone. And I tried it, and then I was just like, it's overwhelming to me.
Yeah.
I just can't do it.
Simple is best. So can you walk us through what your kitchen and camera setup looks like? And how do you get ready to film a recipe?
Yeah. So if I'm going to film, well, the ones where it's like the voiceover ones, like I'll have all my ingredients kind of just laid out. But
Neon plus.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. But nothing like cut or anything usually, because that's usually in the video. We have to do it between like 11, I'd say, and 3, depending on the season.
That's the best light.
Yeah.
Okay.
For our kitchen.
Yeah.
And you know what? Sometimes if it's raining, I'll do it anyway because I still want to do it sometimes. Yeah.
It's comforting.
I try for the nice lighting days. And then I have a mug that I put my phone in.
What?
Like, I have a tripod, but I can't use it.
I thought this was a tripod the whole time.
No.
So your phone is in a mug.
If I'm doing it by myself.
Okay, so when you're standing by like the oven or the stove, it's propped in a mug.
In a mug, yep. Or just maybe if I put it on the side of this or something like something just holding it up.
Yeah.
But I have a tripod and I try to use it. It's just like, it's hard. But now I'm lucky because Chuck is home, and so he could just he's the tripod.
Oh, so when you're getting like the shots over you as like things are cooking, that's Chuck and the mug.
Yeah, and when Chuck wasn't available to film me, I would just take it out of the mug and then do it from my... I feel like that's what adds dynamic to the video. Some is still and then some is like kind of moving.
Wow, it's that simple. Good lighting, a mug, and Chuck.
And Chuck.
The trifecta.
Yes.
I love it. How do you hope that your audience feels when they cook your recipes at home based on the videos and the recipe content and just the intentionality behind thinking about things?
I hope that the video helps make the recipe more clear and then the recipe makes the video more clear and they kind of work together. And I hope that it's relatively simple and it's like, okay, it came out how Hailee said it was going to come out and it's enjoyable and I'm really like excited to share this. I just want people excited to share it with other people too. Or if you're just cooking for yourself, obviously just excited for that. I also hope that, say it's a braised recipe and the meat's braised or whatever, that maybe they'll make it so many times, right? Because they love it so much and then they realize, oh, this is braising. I could do this with other meats or I can make this recipe, but I could sub in like pork instead. Then it's learning cooking techniques through one recipe. Or like they make it so many times that one day they know it by heart and they don't need the recipe. And then hopefully that they feel like cooking becomes intuitive by making a recipe. I always say like, if you want to learn to cook, I feel like make one recipe, follow it a bunch of times. And before you know it, you're going to know it by heart. And you're not really going to need the recipe. And you're going to realize, oh yeah, I know how to cook that. Instead of I know how to cook crispy chicken thighs with blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Like I know how to make crispy chicken thighs and I'm going to put this on here because I have this or something like that.
What's one piece of advice you'd give to any home cook who is wanting to level up their skills and make great meals?
Yeah. I guess it would be, again, making recipes and learning how to make it really well by following it. And then, like I said, hopefully you know it by heart eventually. Oh, a big thing also, when I was first learning to cook and following recipes when I was young, I never once thought, let me try this before serving it. Or let me try this before like doing the next step. And then I remember when I learned tasting your food as you go, I was like, it sounds so stupid when I say it now. It's like, of course you're going to taste it. But no, I remember like making pasta and thinking like, oh, I hope this tastes good when I eat it in my bowl when I sit down. Not thinking like, oh, I could adjust it now before we even have this issue. So I think that's a big thing.
More recipes should have a little taste.
Taste it.
Just give it a taste, you know?
Like I wonder how you say that, season a taste with salt and pepper. But also it's like maybe you want a little more vinegar in yours.
We've given hints about Chuck, which actually it's funny because I feel like when you and Chuck started both stepping up on the scene, there was like conspiracy theories of,
see, that's so
they're
funny
in the
to
same
me.
kitchen. Oh my God, they're using the same pepper grinder.
Yeah.
So for context, Chuck Cruz is also your partner and another exceptional content creator. And you two live together and have started doing a lot of fun content together with Friday night dinners on your Instagram, two people cooking. And I love it because you get to share this relaxed perspective of just like what you're up to. And people really seem to love the content. How did you come up with the idea of Friday night dinners?
Well, a lot of Chuck and I's ideas just comes when we were drinking way too much coffee. So one day we were drinking way too much coffee. I mean, I don't know if it was me or Sam, but we were just saying like it would just be so fun if we could just make cooking videos where it's just more longer and less based on this is the recipe of the video.
Yeah.
And it's more so just about like cooking and eating together. Whatever we're going to eat for dinner, we're just going to film it like zero editing, like really like zero editing and just
vibe.
Yeah. Like I didn't think anybody would really watch it, honestly. I really didn't. That's also like the main thing about cooking that we love too, is cooking together. So we're like, we should show that because we love that.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's like really, really fun. Not that other stuff isn't fun. It's not based on the recipe, which I think is fun.
So you find that like your Friday night dinners are more creative, intuitive, just like what's in the pantry, what you've been thinking about all week.
Friday is like a fun day. So we like make fun foods.
Yeah.
Like pizza.
Love.
Yeah, like fun foods that make us happy, or just like what we've been craving the whole week type of thing that we didn't necessarily want to make during the week because it's like kind of tired by the end of the day type of thing.
Yeah. So now that Chuck is a full-time content creator, you're sharing your workspace, You have your videos to make. He has his videos to make.
Right.
What are the ground rules in your house for sharing and keeping the space so that you're both able to use it?
A lot of things with Chuck and I, we don't have spoken rules. We just have rules that we both somehow know without saying
Signs
them
of
out
a good
loud.
couple.
Yeah. So if I know he's got to do something, it's like I'll somehow just know like, oh, I'm not going to film today, or I'm going to be helping Chuck film his, or like, and then he'll help me with things that are more so like computer stuff or something, that doesn't need to be filming. Yeah, it really just depends on the week, really. But we're just very respectful of each other's needs, I would say. And we're just very used to working with each other. Most of the time, I worked in restaurants. We worked the same exact station.
Oh, so cute.
Yeah, so so really, like, this is like working sauté with Chuck. That's the highest pressure. That's a lot of pressure just because there's, so many things going on. I think it's just we're used to coordinating with each other. And so in this environment,
pressure environments,
right,
yeah,
it's a little more chill.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely a lot more chill. Less chill in other aspects, but so we're good at coordinating.
Yeah, that's really awesome. I always wondered that because I'm like, are you guys like, okay, Tuesday I've got this video and you can have the light from this time to this time, but you've got to be able to figure it out.
Yeah.
You were both initially quite private about your relationship and, you had never said anything. And I would consider two people cooking as the hard launch, to use internet speak.
Yeah.
How do you feel about, putting your relationship out there with Chuck in public?
I guess I just never really thought of it as me being private. Yeah, I never thought of it that way. So when we did the two people cooking thing, I didn't think anything else of it because I never thought that it was private now going public. Because to me, it's just...
He's just Chuck.
Yeah. But then I realized, I guess people were really interested in that. And we never really talked about it. I just never thought people really cared. But I guess they do.
Yeah.
But not that they really do. I don't know.
I would love to hear, how have you found community with other creators or folks in and around the industry?
Yeah, that was one of the first things like where I ever even met anybody.
Oh, that trip?
Yeah, definitely. Because I'm trying to get better with saying yes to like going to events and stuff because I'm always so nervous and like I'm such a nervous person in my opinion. And I'm always sweating. Everything's like,
don't worry, I'm a sweater. So.
I know. I can remember this and that made me so happy. I was like, I need somebody to sweat with me.
That was our bonding moment.
Yeah. This year I'm going to start saying yes to more things, to meet more people. Online, everyone's so lovely. Like, I was like, oh, wait, I actually haven't met this person in real life. Well, you think you have. But everybody in like the food content, I feel like they're just so lovely and nice. I'm just going to make an effort to go to things more, to actually meet people.
Instagram and TikTok. How do you think about connecting with your audience?
Well, when I first started doing cooking videos, I did just hands and pans. I wasn't in it at all. I don't know. I just didn't really know how to film anything. But then I was like, I feel like I want to make these videos more personal because I felt like what you're saying, like I want to connect more to my audience. And so I just put myself in it without even a voiceover. Most of the time, there's no voiceovers. So it's like really a progression of me like trying to connect more to my audience.
Finding your voice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I think once I started doing the voiceovers and maybe like showing a little bit more parts of my life and stuff, I was able to really, there's like more of a community around it. It made it more personable. I really wanted to do that because to me, cooking is so personal and it's not just my hands doing it. It's like so many things go, like we were talking about, like intuitive cooking. You have to think about it and stuff. So I think that really helped garner a community.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And I think you have storytelling too. I think the way you think about, like I love the video you did with artichokes.
Oh, yes.
And you're like, don't be intimidated. This is how I like to eat them. Like, this is how I do it. And it's like people love you and they want to follow that journey. Yeah. Part of being a content creator is, creating sponsored content. And obviously that's the way you're making your income, which comes from a lot of brand partnerships. So you've worked with tons of brands like Graza, Momofuku Foods, just to name a few. What's your philosophy when it comes to working with brands?
Yeah, I really only do things that I really like and that I really would use. It also depends on the campaign itself, what part of the year and stuff, if I want to even do it that time of the year, if you know what I mean. And I also I never wanted to come out like I'm doing a ton of brand deals. You don't want to be ridden with brand deals, but at the same time, it is like my job. You got to pay the bills. Yeah, so I just really am trying to be mindful about doing the right amount, with the right people. And yeah, that's what I try to do.
When you're working with brands, what are sort of the guiding principles you use to like create content? Like, are they coming to you because of your style, or are they coming to you because they just want, you have an audience and they want you to share their product?
Most of the time when it's something, like I said, it's like something like spring, like we want to use this during the spring, like with a spring recipe. Most of the time, that's the creative part that they do. And then they really let me do I've never had a thing where it's like, oh, you can't make that. They really let me do what I want to do. I've never had an issue with that. So that's very lovely.
How lucky.
Yeah. So I just make the recipe. They approve the recipe, but I've never had someone say like no to the recipe. And then, so usually I feel very empowered to make something that I want to make with just like, Kerrygold butter, which is the best butter.
That is signature butter.
Yep.
The best.
You can't go wrong.
Obviously, we're huge manifestors on the podcast. Are there any dream brands that you would love to work with or visit or check out?
I don't know if I was talking to you about this, But there's like a Dijon mustard trip.
Yes, we talked about this.
Which is it great?
It's mild.
Oh,
mild. Yeah.
That's what I would love.
Because I think we were manifesting this
yes.
after
Okay. So we're doing it again. We're
We're manifesting again.
That is something that's a dream for sure.
Yeah.
I would love to do that.
How do you find time to take care of yourself and not, fall into the pressures of constantly having to produce on social media?
Yeah. Well, honestly, my whole life, even if it was just school or if it was, later on to my restaurant career, blah, 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 I've always had like an issue with balancing that. I don't know, honestly. I don't want to be that person where it's like, I just work so much. Like, I'm not saying that. I just am a person that's all, even if I'm like always thinking about it, because I do that. I ruminate on things. And so it's just something that I'm definitely still working on. But lately, even just getting my I know everyone says this, but getting my steps in the beginning of the day has been clarity for me. So even just that has been helping me. But yeah, it's definitely something that's a corner of I need help with myself.
No, it takes time, but it seems like maybe there's some aspects of cooking that are even more comforting to you. And it seems like Friday night dinners are
that's a great
bit of a release.
Yes. Yeah, cooking has always been the number one thing.
Yeah.
But, then it also is my job, which is also obviously very grateful for. So it's a whole thing, It's a whole thing.
Definitely. What are your thoughts on, the current state of the food industry and from your perspective as a content creator?
The beauty of social media is that you can post whatever you want to post. If you want to create food content, I think go ahead. As long as you're not doing anything out of malice or anything like that. If it's authentic to you, I think it's lovely. And I think everyone should feel empowered to do that if they want to. But if you don't want to, I don't think that you should also feel pressured to do so. And I know that the internet can make you feel pressured to do so. Obviously, there's so many other ways to be in food or talk about food without necessarily totally focusing on social media, because obviously that's what I did before. But I do think it's a beautiful thing that there is a place that if you want to express yourself, you can.
Obviously, you're kind of posting your work to a large audience. You have no expectations of what people are going to say. No. But sometimes there are negative comments. It doesn't seem like you get too many of them. Yeah. But when you do get them, what are some of your strategies for dealing with the naysayers out there?
Well, I just think that it's inevitable, because that's the internet. Most of the time, like when it's like a negative comment, it's something like more so based on the cooking of something. Like they wouldn't do it that way, or like or like those anchovies are disgusting or something like that.
Very personal opinions.
Yeah, and so it's like that doesn't bother me because it's just like, that's fine if you think that, and if you want to write that, I'm saying you can because I have a comment section. You can write that if you want. So it doesn't bother me. I guess the things about my appearance, that also doesn't bother me. To me, that's not who I am. It's just an outward-facing thing of me. But it's like if people attack my character, those are things that I have really issues with and I will dwell on, which doesn't happen a lot. But like I can only think of a couple instances. If it's something about my character, then it like really affects me. I just think like, oh my God, maybe I'm a terrible person or something.
That's far from the truth.
But like I said, that happens very rarely. So otherwise, it's just things that are what I find to be silly comments. And so I just am like,
Yeah. Just sweep under the rug.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Where do you hope to see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years? And where do you think your content will take you?
People ask me this a lot. And if you told me 5 years ago from, now, I would be like, there's no way I would be doing that. I don't even like people taking pictures of me. I don't like any of that. So I'm like, there's no way I would ever be videoing myself and putting it on the internet. Like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
That's why it's like really hard for me to answer those types of things because I very much just try to live in the current, what I'm doing now, because also I get overwhelmed very easily. So I try not to think too much about the future. But 5 years, I hope maybe I have a cookbook or something. That would be lovely. And just continue like growing the community of people that hopefully enjoy the recipes. Also pop-ups. I would love to be doing. That's something that's a goal for the year.
You
actually.
And Chuck, please save me a ticket. Yeah, because you're going to sell out.
I don't know. I don't know, but we would love to do that. But I would love to have like a small cafe. That's like probably more longer than 5 years. But that's always been my dream, just to have a community place, nothing too crazy. Like I just want a place where it's the people that live in that place love to come there and just enjoy like a little lunch. And just like something very simple.
Good sandwich.
A nice loaf of bread and stuff like that. So that would be the main goal at one point. At some point, if that ever happened, I don't know.
I love that. And what do you think the future is for content creators, particularly in the food industry?
It's hard, because it's so new. It feels like it's not new, but it's like extremely new. It's just the sheer amount of content makes you feel like it's been happening forever. Mm-hmm. But it's like, I really feel like very new.
Yeah. New in like the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It depends on what the person wants from it. Maybe you're creating food content just to gain a following. And like from that, you have nothing else to, which is fine. That's fine. But like maybe some people want to grow this community so they can then, open or have a cookbook so really I feel like it's very dependent on the person. But yeah, I feel like it's also fine like if your main goal is just to keep creating content, like if that's just what you want to do. With doing content, there's always like something else like that you could branch off into and try out. So, but I do think a lot more pop-ups are already happening, which I think is really fun.
Yeah.
And that's like, that's something, again, I really want to do, like cook for people again, because I really do miss that. I miss that aspect of cooking for people, other than Chuck, which I love him, but
she's bored. I'm kidding. Yeah, no, it sounds like, you see content creation almost as like an avenue to opportunity. So it's like you can create the content just to create it, or you can create it so it gives you like the audience to then have a cookbook, host a pop-up, open your restaurant, open your cafe.
And also I think it's also fine if you have no idea what you want to do, but you want to start creating content. I think that's great because you can learn it on the way.
Experience is the best teacher.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Hailee, this was such an incredible conversation. You are doing such incredible work. And if we want to continue to support you, where are the best places to find you?
You can find me at Hailee Catalano on Instagram and TikTok, and also at Two People Cooking on Instagram and TikTok as well.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Before we go, our guest is going to leave a voicemail just talking to themselves 10 years from now. You have reached the Future of Food as You mailbox. Please leave your message after the beep.
Hey, Hailee, I hope you're happy. I hope you're doing well 10 years later. I hope that you, Gus and Chuck, are just living your little dream. I hope that maybe you've released your first cookbook and that it went well. I hope maybe you're working on another cookbook or working on a cookbook with Chuck, or even opened a cafe with Chuck. That would be lovely. And yeah, I just hope that you remember to find your inner peace and not overwhelm yourself too much, as you tend to do, and just remember that the love of cooking is what brought you here and what brings you your peace, and that you don't overthink that, and you just focus on your inner peace. And that's it.
That's it for today's show. I would love for you to leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to our show. Thank you to Kerry Gold, Hampton Grocer, and Donna for supporting our show. The Future of Food is You is a production of the Cherry Bomb Podcast Network. Thanks to the team at City Box Studios, executive producers Carrie Diamond and Catherine Baker, associate producers Jenna Sadu and Elizabeth Vogt, and content operations manager London Crenshaw. Catch you on the Future Flip!